G'day folks, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve the 2x2x5 center shifted cuboid. Well, this is one of a number of puzzles that were produced by Whit Eden at the time, back in I reckon 2016 or 17, something like that. There was a whole bunch of them, 2x2x5, 6, 7, and some of them were normal cuboids and some of them were center shifted like this. But to complicate matters, they changed their name from Whit Eden to 1688cube.com. I guess they thought it would be more easy to remember. They were wrong. So I don't know what's happening with Whit Eden at the moment, but this puzzle has the characteristic feel of a cheap puzzle to it. Most Whit Eden puzzles do. So do Whit Eden puddles. You can see this just kind of looks like it's just hanging off there waiting to fall down. I don't know why they don't put a little more quality control in, but be that as it may. We've got this puzzle and it's 2x2x5 because that's what it looks like when it's solved. But of course, being center shifted, it's not all it seems. So I'm going to take you through how to approach this. It's not too bad, but there are some tricky bits that are not obvious. So the first thing that I want to do is get all of the white bits on the white end and the yellow bits on the yellow end. And you might be thinking, well, how do I know it's white and yellow? Well, every little bit that is sticking out somehow has a white or yellow on it. They are the common colors. So that's what tells me. So initially, I would just sort of try and use simple turns to get a couple of whites together. I can move this one up like that, and this one as well. Is that going to come up into position? It's going to come up to there, so it's not exactly what I want. Let's just take that out for a minute as though I'm solving, I suppose, a 2x2 or something. Now that's going to turn where it needs to, so I'll do, as I said, simple turns to get those whites. That's normally quite doable. And it will leave you with something on the other end, which is either you'll have, say, 3 of these sticking out or maybe 2. In this case, I've got 2. So if I rotate that one clockwise, the yellow will come to the top. If I rotate this one anti-clockwise, the yellow will come to the top as well. So I've got to think of it as though I'm on a 3x3 cube. I've got 2 corners left to rotate. That's how I'm going to do it. So this one's going anti-clockwise. So I'm going to do 2 up, up, down, downs. It's just a bit trickier because it's so unwieldy, the puzzle at this stage. Up, up, down, down. There's the first one. You can see that has been rotated. I'll bring the other one in and do the opposite. Up, up, down, down. And when that has finished, you'll have the yellows rotated as well. So that's kind of the first mini stage here. And what we've got to think is, what is the center of rotation of this puzzle? So it's obviously, if I turn like that, it does not retain its shape. Now I can't do anything with these ones up here. They're fixed to the bits below, but I can on this end. So I can turn that end around. But in terms of the center of rotation of this thing, we've got, if I look at a side face and just turn it and concentrate on that bit there, you'll see that it just rotates in place. So that is the center of rotation. So what's happening is, if you forgot about this top white layer and just went from there down, you're looking at a 2x2x4. And that's how we've got to think of it. So outer layer, and the 2 central layers there. Now, clearly, if we're going to think of it as a 2x2x4, these bits here have to be attached correctly. So the way to do this depends on what you end up with at this point after your scramble. So you could get them just solved. You just sort of turn them into place. You could get something like this, where no matter what you do, you're either going to have a couple of solved bits and a pair of, or a swap of pieces. So if I turn this 2 turns, the same thing happens. I've got a couple of solved and a swap of pieces. What about if I turn it 1 turn, what happens? Well, here I've got blue, red to blue, red, green, orange to green, orange. So I've got a couple of swaps there and a couple of swaps here. So you could end up also with sort of a 4-cycle situation where you have that going to there, going to there, going to there, something like that. And what you get depends on how you've got to approach it. So this here, what I need to be able to do is somehow get this piece to there and this piece to here, but I just cannot, there's no way to do it using a normal routine that I'd normally do. So I might think, oh, well, let's do this. Let's do an upturn and then a right 2 and then an upturn, but suddenly I'm blocked from being able to move that. And that's what I mean by there's no real way to do that. So I need to think about moving some pieces around so that I can. Therefore, what I will do is just think, well, if I've got the blue-orange on the orange-green, and the orange-green on the blue-orange, if I could move, say, this one over to here, those two would be opposite. Now, if I move this pair to here, I would be moving this pair back to here. And that means the red-blue and green-red, which would be here, would be opposite to the green-red and red-blue. And just thinking it through like that, you go, oh, that's actually what I need to do. So I've got to swap these two bits here. Now you can do that however you like, but what I'm going to do, in fact, it doesn't have to be those two bits. It just has to be, let's say the two that are related to each other, they can't be next to each other. So this bit, I'm going to move, say, to over here, move this back. So if I'm going to move that away, what I'm going to do first is move it down to the bottom. Now I know when I do a corner piece series for cuboids, this part comes to the front, this goes across there, and this goes up to the top. So my plan is get this down to the bottom and then replace this piece on the bottom into that position. So first of all, let's get it down to the bottom. And this is just a standard corner piece series for cuboids. Okay, that is now down to the bottom. It was there. Now, note that I don't care what happens to yellows. I'm only interested in the whites here. I need to get that pair into that position. And to do that, what I can do is just rotate the whole thing and say, well, again, if I now turn the position to the back here, the piece movement will be this coming down to here, this across to here, and this one going up into the position that I want. So that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, that is done. And the final thing, there is only one position left, and that's got to take this piece here. That'll complete the swap. And you can sort of see what's happening because here I've got orange-green on blue-orange, and opposite it, I've got blue-orange on orange-green. So when I turn 2 turns, it's going to solve that layer. So how do I now get this to here? Well, I'll do the same sort of thing. I hold that so it's in this position. That is where it wants to go. So everything is correctly placed, ready for this. And what I now have is the ability to turn these layers 2 turns, and note that all of those are reduced. So now I can treat each of these as a single piece. And again, if you remember the center of rotation, it's there. So I've got like a single layer, the middle part, and a single layer here. That's probably the hardest part of the solve, because what you want to do now is pretend that you don't have that layer and just treat it as a 2x2x4. So I would start by saying I'm going to get this middle layer done first. And I'm going to use exactly the same algorithm that I've just been using. So it doesn't really matter how you start off. I'll look here and I got red, green, green, orange. That'll do. What do I want next? Orange, blue to go here. So I'll just turn it like that and say, do I have an orange, blue up the top? I've got a couple of them. So let's just try. Is that one the correct one or this one? Well, what I know is that the piece that is up here is going to come down to this position. So when I rotate that, you can see it comes down like that, but it's not correct. So let's try turning that. And now the blue, the other blue orange is here. That's going to rotate. Perfect. That's what I want. So I also don't really want to disrupt this one. So probably what I would do is say, okay, let's go into this position. That's the piece that I want. And I'll bring it to the back right and do a mirror corner piece series for cuboids. So it's coming from here down to there. This goes across, that goes up. Now, because I'm dealing with this so-called middle layer, I just want to make sure that I turn that layer as my top layer. I can ignore this, I can turn it with it. And as long as I do that, everything will do what I want it to do. So I'm just trying to place this orange blue into that position. So anti-clockwise, upper turn first, and then a left turn and continue. Okay, what's that done? That has put the blue orange that was up in this position down to here. So I already had the red, green, green, orange. I've now got the orange, blue, and I've got the blue, red. So that entire bottom layer is done. That's not necessarily good because I kind of need a piece in that layer. I'm going to turn it upside down. If I get stuck on the center of rotation, just turn a face and note that that's the bit that doesn't move. So because I know this is correct, I also know the orange, green is correct. What else do I get to know? That is orange, blue, or it should be orange, blue. That should be blue, red. So you can see this blue, red piece here should roll across to there. The red, green has to go to here where the orange, blue is. So to finish these three pieces off, I'm going to just rotate the orange, blue up so that it is in this top left corner. And now that to there is my 3 cycle that I will carry out. Okay, that is done, and I'll just rotate that setup back to where it was. And you can see that the whole of the middle layer, that central layer, is now complete. Well, now that that's done, I just do the same sort of thing on the top here. And I've got, again, treating these as a single piece. This is going to be my white face. This is my yellow, but it doesn't really matter. I can be guided by the colors of the central face. So for example, I can see, in fact, is that my white face? I've got no idea. Let's have a look. I think, yes, that is. So we'll see how we go. For instance, I've got a green-red pair here. Now, I noticed that there's a yellow, green, red underneath. And I look, are there any other green reds that are yellow? No. So that tells me that the other green red piece must be here. And that's the only other option is the white, green, red. So this is how you can also go, I'm not sure if it's white or yellow, which face it is. Just have a look at the colors. If I turn that to there, I can bring it down and replace it here. Now that's already done, so I'm going to take that. So I suppose once again, I'll actually do it as the mirror and have it coming down on this side. Okay, that is done. I've got those two in position. Let's see what else. I'm just having a turn of the upper face to see what is what. That's one placed. I'm only going to have one yellow place, so I'm just going to keep going. Let's see if we can place the white, orange, blue in this position. So to do that, it would need to be in the back corner there to come down like this. Okay, what does that leave me? Turn that. Yep, it leaves me a 3 cycle. Now, I should say I haven't encountered it in this one, but you could get a swap here, and you could also get a swap on the previous little section where we were doing the central layer. If that happens, you would simply turn one of the layers one turn and then resolve using an even number of turns, as per normal. It didn't happen on this one. That's okay. Let's turn it up here and note that the yellow, blue, orange has got to go there. The white will come up to this position, and this piece, the yellow, blue, red, needs to be in that back left position to come down to there. So this will be the final algorithm we need to do. All right. Now, once that's done, we turn that back into position, and you can see that it just behaved as a 2x2x4 once we had these correctly put into position. So as I said, that's really the guts of the whole solve. If you can't get those onto their correct bases, you can never solve it. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of how to do that. That is the 2x2x5 center shifted cuboid. As always, thanks for watching.